A second.
Here we go.
I think we are live. There you go.
Yeah, we are. We're on.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome. This is part of my journey. I have got Double P.
Yo.
Paul, and I've also got Mr Mustoe, John.
Hello. How are you doing?
And yeah, we're going to talk about various things today. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about DJing, Twitch, online communities, lockdown, wherever we go, really. Let me just make sure this is on mute. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Right, where should we start? Maybe Paul. Maybe if we start with you.
I think
change
we
you
should
up
go
here.
with. Hey.
Yeah, I've moved you over. Right, Mark Lancaster is in
should...
the house.
Hi, Mark.
Even Mark.
I think we should go with mental health. I think that's a big thing that's sort of affected me for quite a while now.
Okay. When did you first realise it was an issue?
Oh God, when did I realise it was an issue? I went through quite a traumatic time in my life. It was about 2009, actually 2008. One of my best mates was killed in a car accident 4 days before Christmas. So I was quite strong before then. But whilst that was going on, I found out that my now ex-wife was having an affair, but on my back as well. So it was there was that going on. And then I think it was, I had to buy another house. I had my dog put in kennels. And then I met my wife now, Lynette, obviously, who I'm with now. And then my dad got ill with cancer. And this was within about a year.
Oh,
18
that's a
months.
lot, isn't it? That's a hell of a lot to deal with.
And then I lost my job and that sort of thing. So that completely sort of shattered my confidence and self-belief and self-opinion of myself. I was quite a confident person, confident, happy-go-lucky, that sort of person. But now, it completely, up to the point of 2 years ago, it pretty much destroyed me, to be fair, to the point of I shouldn't laugh about it, but to the point of like suicide. That's how far it pushed me to that limit.
I mean, it must be good that you can almost laugh about it now, though. It shows you've come through. I'm not saying completely to the other side, because I don't know where you are fully at the moment, but it must be certainly a stage on from that. Cause that is a hell of a lot, even just one of those things to deal with.
Yeah. I mean,
would be enough to hit most people quite hard.
Yeah, I saw what do they call it? Not a counselor, a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Because it was quite bad. Saw a psychiatrist, counsellor. I'm still on my tablets at the moment. I don't need them as much now. I just get the side effects from coming off them. So I take one now and then, but I'm slowly weaning myself off. But for me, I mean, I've got a very supportive family. I've got really good friends. I've got people that I call my family that aren't my, related, as in blood related family. But I'm lucky with what I've got, but your mind's a really funny thing, it's a real complex bit of kit, and it can play tricks on you. It can easily, I'll get up in the morning and I'll be like, right, let's go out for a walk. It doesn't happen because my brain's telling me that you don't want to go for a walk. That's too much of enjoyment. Sit on the sofa and just sit there.
Yeah.
And just, do nothing. Be a couch potato, because your brain's telling you, and the lockdowns affected me in that way, where I kind of used to staying in at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I think lockdown has definitely exacerbated everything, hasn't it? Even people who are absolutely haven't got any issues or anything to worry about, it's created so many difficulties because of this enforced, effectively imprisonment, isn't it? Even if you are going out to work.
I mean, it has that effect, but then again, it's had positives, because if it wasn't for COVID-19, on the flip side, we wouldn't be here talking.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
We wouldn't be playing. We wouldn't be playing music. We wouldn't know. Sam wouldn't be playing on Twitch. Sam wouldn't inspire like so many people to get onto Twitch.
Yeah. Definitely.
John's on Twitch. We pretty much worked together, but he pushed me more to get in onto Twitch, to get on there. So, I mean, for me, my big, I'm trying to describe it. I wouldn't say it was my solution to the problem, but I think that DJing has really helped me a lot. When I mean, my story with DJing is basically when Gid, who's obviously part of 3 The Hard Way with me and John, and we're part of the SGBC, got me into the Stray Gloucester vinyl collection with Darren Tunes. And I basically had these set of decks, and my vinyl collection then obviously was a bit smaller, a lot smaller.
I think all of ours were. I think all of our vinyl collection was much smaller.
Yeah. I mean, you're flicking through the 45s, and you've got the Frog Chorus by Paul McCartney. You're thinking, hang on a minute, I can't play that one. So so I got my decks. I started playing, and then like Gideon introduced me to the SGBC, and then I had a chance to play at the Cafe Rennie when we were before lockdown. And I'm like, Darren was coming round. Have a listen to this mix. What do you think? Yeah, it's all right, mate. It's good. Oh, okay. Right. The Friday night, I'm saying I'm not doing it. That's it. I'm not doing it. I don't think I'm good enough. Not that I'm not good enough. I just don't think I can. My brain's saying I can't do this. It's going to be something that it's out of your comfort zone and nothing you can control, etc., etc. So Darren's on the phone saying you got to do it. Come on, let's do it. Come on, you'll enjoy it. There's no pressure. You could go on first. And then Gid phoned me up and said, look, mate, I ain't being funny, but if I'm coming around now with my records, you're going to get your record bag and you'll get in the car with me and you'll come into Cafe Rennie.
Some positive reinforcement there.
And he's literally, man, I wouldn't say dragged me in, but it was pretty much dragged me in. I did the set. I was trying to back out of it, and obviously all the issues. Sam was there. It was Darren, Deboo. There's loads of them from the SGBC. I think Skotsky was there. I don't know if you were there, John. Were you? I can't remember if you were there.
I wasn't at that event. I was probably DJing myself. I wasn't at that event, but yeah.
And I played my set, and that was it. It was just like, okay, I'm buzzing from this now. And then we hit lockdown, carried on buying vinyl, and then we did our first stream of 3 The Hard Way in November, which we all did, me, John and Gid, and that was an absolute bloody buzz.
Yeah.
Is that a Coffee and Donuts one that you did for us?
No, it was the one before that. It was Criztoz, mate. We did one on our own. We just tried it, and it was just... It was a
test. That was a test broadcast, wasn't it? The first real one was the Coffee and Donuts one. So that was, suddenly we're on Coffee and Donuts. We were like, wow.
I mean, Coffee and Donut. I mean, that, for me, it's like, I just said this whole thing started with me saying to Rob, why don't we do a live stream? And then obviously we ended up doing that 24-hour thing. And then I was like, why don't we just do a Saturday morning thing? And then it sort of got to where it is now, where people are, tune in every week, and it's still, like I say on all my streams, it still amazes me that people are tuning in and watching us playing our 45s. They could be doing hundreds of other things, and yet they're there listening to us. To some of the DJs on Twitch clearly are people who've been doing it forever, I think Paul, you've got the poster there, haven't you? But obviously, a lot of us are certainly unknown to each other, let alone unknown to the bigger sort of Twitch community.
I've got to say a big thank you as well, because that was created obviously for the Coffee and Donut stream, and off the back of that, we were all buzzing. But then Paul went out and sort of went to a printer, sent it to the printer online, and got some copies for myself and Gid as well. So we've got a real nice token of one of our first streams together, all sort of framed and printed up. So I've got to say thank you again for that, mate. That was a brilliant touch. That was really nice. And you know, we
went into overtime as well, didn't we? Because you're only supposed to do 2 hours, and then we were like, keep going,
we're
keep going,
just buzzing. And to be honest as well, you know, I think, you know, lockdown has it's presented a lot of challenges for people in regards to motivate and feel happy at certain times, you know, and that, I think that was a highlight for all three of us. So, you know, I don't think I'm talking to myself on that. And I think, you know, Twitch in itself, or you know, ways in which people can sort of reach out and sort of almost do everyday things. If you were a DJ, then DJing might have been quite natural to you, going out and doing a gig. Obviously that got ripped away from people to Twitch, that opportunity. You know, so having some sort of normality in this crazy world we've been in for the past 12 months, you know, has really, really helped. I think we were all buzzing that day. So to have that token and that memento of that stream, that's pretty fantastic thing. So it always brings a smile to my face when I see that flyer framed. It's just a real nice token, that was.
Right, I'm going to do something, because unfortunately we're always juggling our lives around everything, and I've just forgotten to do something. I've got to go and tell my daughter to go to sleep. So I'm going to be back in 2 minutes.
Do that.
I'll do that. I'm just going to remove myself from the stream for a minute.
No problem. So P, we were talking about that. That was was that your first gig with SGVC that you did?
I mean, Darren come out about, I think I lost count how many times he actually come round to get me to motivate to play, and I played my set to him. But mate, I hadn't had any vinyl. I was buying vinyl left, right, and centre. 12 inches on Take Me Away, all my Inner City stuff. So yeah, that was the first one, mate. And then me and Gib were walking back to the car. We're like, whoa, I can sleep for ages.
Yeah.
You know.
So it does give you that kind of, you know, that release. You know, just those endorphins sort of like really, really kick in. You know, especially if you've had a fantastic set and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Would you say then? So that was probably, how much before lockdown was that? Was that like how long was the DJing journey for yourself? How long has it been?
What, for me to start to actually go and play?
Start where we are now. How long have you been sort of like DJing? Yeah.
Well, I got my decks October 2019.
Okay. Yeah.
So October 19 was when I first got. I think it was October 19. I can't remember. But anyway, October 19. And then I played my first set at Rene in, I think it's February. I know Tunes might know, but I think it was February 2020.
Right. Yeah.
And then we hit lockdown.
Yeah.
But we did we did manage to do that barbecue, didn't we? At Perry's. Remember, it was Sam and all was there. We all
in
played,
between the lockdowns. Yeah. We had a
SGPC
awesome barbecue. So yeah, that was good as well. So the concept of SGVC is just, it's an open deck format, and DJs get the chance pre-COVID to come down, put their names on a sort of chalkboard that's there. It's a first come first served basis, and the DJs get sort of a 20-minute slot, held in sort of like local pubs, and it's Stroud in Gloucester is what the S and the G stands for. So the one month or the one event would be held in Gloucester, and then sort of 10 miles away Stroud was the next event. And it just, the fantastic thing about that, I think the first time I played was at the barbecue, funnily enough. But I went to them as a punter because I just enjoyed them so much. It just, I mean, I've been DJing for 30 years, but I still get a buzz off listening and watching DJs. I think that's why I've really enjoyed Twitch so much. So I take things, so many things away from each and every sort of DJ performance I hear, whether it's someone's a fantastic music selector, or the way they can blend, or some can scratch fantastic, some just are brilliant on the mic and they've got this rapport with the audience. And there's nothing, I don't never leave a DJ set without thinking, oh, I wish I could do that. Just one of those things. I still get hype on DJ sets. So SGVC was fantastic for me. And I remember one event that they held in the summer a couple of years ago. It was an outside event, and a guy turned up and he dug his 45s out of the attic, come down with them in like a plastic carrier bag. Some had sleeves, some didn't, and went, oh, I've never used anything in a hi-fi deck. So he goes, can someone help me sort of put the stuff on? I just want to play some songs.
Brilliant.
And do you know what? He was absolutely buzzing, because he was like hearing his music being played loud, and it was just a fantastic. And I think that's the beauty of music, isn't it? We all trying to get something different out of music, whether we're listening to it or DJing or playing for an audience, So, I mean, I think, that's been my savior, music.
Yeah, and certainly Twitch has been a savior for most of us, I think, and it's, I was saying about this earlier, pre-Twitch, it was, pre-DJs using Twitch, really, it was just about gamers, wasn't it? And then obviously, you didn't, I'd heard of Twitch, I knew that gamers used it. I didn't really get it, people playing games and other people watching those people playing games. But they're obviously 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of us, because now we're DJs that are watching other DJs playing music. And it's the interaction, it's that chat, that's what the difference is, and it's all real time, and especially in these lockdown times where we can't have interaction with people in real life, unless you're lucky enough to go out to work or whatever. But even then, it's just your work colleagues rather than your friends. It's amazing, the amount of friends. I mean, like we said before we came on air, look at this a year ago, who'd have thought that we'd be here chatting about DJing on Twitch and people sort of tuning in and whatever. It's a new entertainment.
It is. I mean, I think the beauty of it as well is because we've all kind of arrived at Twitch within the same point. It's new to everybody. And again, I'm talking maybe from a personal experience, but I don't know what you guys have found. But the DJing industry can be a particularly bitchy place. It can be a particularly, if you're a promoter, it can be a hard place. It can be a hard place. And Twitch, I found, has been completely the opposite. It's been, people have reached out that you don't even know, and they're trying to help you if you've got tech issues, because we've all arrived here and we're all trying to sort of carve out this road on Twitch together. But it's been I find it so positive.
It's a real leveler, isn't it?
Yeah, because it matters not whether you were a mobile DJ, whether you were filling pubs, clubs, stadiums. It doesn't matter. We've all reverted back to being a bedroom DJ. And we've all been
cave, loft, attic, DJ,
100%. And we've all been there, and I'm still there sometimes, where streaming to 1 or 2 people. And then so it's difficult to build up that community.
I'm sorry.
It is difficult to
Sam tweaks, dives in.
So,
welcome, Sam Tweaks.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Yeah.
Happy St. David's Day.
But it's just been yes. Don't mention the rugby. But it's been such a leveler in regards to that. But I mean, it's been fantastic because I found it incredibly the community has been incredibly supportive, and as I said, people who I've not even met before are reaching out and saying, if you've got a tech issue, try this. And it's all because they want people's streams to succeed, and as I said, that's not necessarily the case in the real world of DJing. So that has been something that's been very positive.
It's very true. And it's like, you ask someone, on a very basic level, in the old days, someone had a really good tune, you'd ask them what that tune is, they wouldn't tell you. Now, you play something, the person's like, here's the record, here it is, it's on this label, it's on here, I'll put the Discogs link in the thing, and it's like, that's what music should be about, sharing and doing it, and it is just an amazing community, and we're all friends, we haven't I know most of you because obviously you've been on the 45 Kings streams, and I've done that, and then we've chatted in the groups and we've chatted in Twitch, but you're as close mates as as anyone in real life, really. And I think that's probably the most amazing thing.
I mean,
that's come out of all of this.
The last 12 months have been just a bit surreal for me, because my daytime job was supplying drinks to the beer industry.
Okay,
so you can imagine what that's been like. And so I've been furloughed for a while, and then it's very rare for me not to be DJing on a weekend. So I'm quite fortunate in that. So to have both of those sort of taken away from you, and I was, I'm just like twiddling my thumbs thinking, what am I going to do? Because everything that I do, all that routine was suddenly just whisked away. So, that was really, really weird. And so like when Twitch came along, I was probably a little bit slow to sort of like jump on it. We did a few IG streams and did a few Facebook ones, but obviously they got jumped all over. And then I started to find out through people like Sam Tweaks about Twitch. And sort of he said, watch various other people, like Mark Oxford was one of the very first people he directed me to. But probably I would say what I probably did was I probably watched too much at the beginning, and I should have jumped on. So I always advise people now when they're talking about Twitch, when you got a phone, get on and do it. Just get on and do it. Don't wait to build up your tech. Just get on, do it, get familiar with it, build up your community, and just add your tech as you go. Because as I said, we're all in this same boat together. So we've all been down the route of, the audio's not been as fantastic as it could be, or sound quality is not brilliant. We may have just had one camera, and whatever it is. But I would just say to people, whatever you've got, if you can get started and you want to get started, just get on and do it and start.
And like you said, there's always going to be people to help. Obviously I've dealt with loads of streams, and everyone's different. People are straight on, they're like, oh yeah, I've streamed before. No, I haven't. And you're like, okay, well, you need this, you need that, or sort this out. And everyone's there to help. Someone helped me to get here in the first place, and obviously it's giving back, and I think that's the best thing about it.
I mean, I wouldn't have been here today if it wasn't the guy who I do sort of one of our back in the day, back in the day I do it with a guy called Martin Rafferty, and he's in IT. But if Martin hadn't set me up, I wouldn't have known. But through what I grasped over what he was telling me, what was doing, I was able to help sort of Paul, So, and then in turn, we helped Gid. And like I said, we've all got these little WhatsApp groups set up. So then we're encouraging other people to stream. So we're saying, get OBS or do this or try that. And then, as I said, right, I'm going to do a test broadcast tonight. Can you log on and check the sound quality? Yeah, fine. So it's been such a positive thing, hasn't it? Yeah. But I said I don't necessarily say you would have got that in the real world of sort of DJing. But but I mean, hopefully, with all the lockdown and stuff like that, I mean, hopefully things will, when we get back to some sort of normality, hopefully things will change. I mean, we were talking just before this broadcast. The exciting thing is all these friends that we've made through Twitch, we are going to get the opportunity to see them. And meet them, in real life, and some of the, some of the things, that we've discussed, and things that used to be a little bit of a barrier in DJ, and hopefully we might have knocked down some of those barriers with things like streams and stuff like that, and hopefully it will strengthen the sort of DJing community in general.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, obviously John helped you sort of get into that, and we spoke a little bit at the beginning about your sort of mental health issues. I mean, how did you find it going live and sort of streaming in front of people? And how did that help, or how did it get hindered?
I mean, when I did a few Facebook ones, and like Dabu and all the guys from the SDBC helped me on that one. And even Dabu was doing me like, I said, can anybody do me a flyer? And then the next, Dabu's like WhatsApping me, a Facebook DJ Double P Facebook Live on a Friday sort of thing. So I did a couple of them, and then obviously the copyright police come involved, didn't they? And they sort of stopped it. So we kind of gave up because I didn't see the point of prepping a set, which takes, some people freestyle it, some people don't. I like to listen to it, get it right, listen to it again, listen to it, and keep on listening to it. So it's in my head, and I know like beats per minute, etc., etc. I stopped doing it. So then we did
so frustrating though, wasn't it? It
just
they'll cut you off. I'm like, what?
You'd fill people up, and it's like, right, copyright. Someone's picked up some, and you're just like, oh shit, you stop it, start it again.
Yeah.
It just was a no-goer really, and I think
So I mean, so we did the first ever sort of stream we did on Twitch. We did the 3 the Hard Way stream, which was on because Martin set up John on his computer. We all sort of powered it around there, did a stream, and then I think John was round here one night to about 9 o'clock at night trying to get my laptop working, and it was not happening, man. It was just like, John, mate, it's 9:30. You what? That's 9:30, mate. What? Anyway, so the next day, Martin phoned up and logged onto my computer. Thankfully, we got it sorted out, and then we did the first stream for Coffee and Donuts on the 2nd of January. So that was all right then, and then obviously then it stems from we've managed to get myself geared sorted out, and then we spoke to the guys from the SDVC, and we sort of asked if they wanted to do it, and then we just put it on the WhatsApp chat, what to do and etc. and then the SDVC did their first ever Twitch stream in January, and it was amazing. I mean, it was all afternoon. We had a few technical glitches, but it rolled, and everybody was.
I remember you sort of messaging me afterwards, and you were just like buzzing,
Yeah.
And, it must have been obviously Christmas and New Year, and everything's always, can be a bit of an anticlimax and all the rest of it. But how did you feel that helped in terms of getting through? Did it assist you in terms of any? Did it?
What, with my mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I mean, as well, because we've got these WhatsApp groups, we've got one for 3 the Hard Way, we've got the SDVC one, and I speak to I put on, if I'm feeling like having a down day, I'd say on the SDVC, look lads, I'm having a real bad day. I can give you literally tunes of you on the phone straight away. He'd say you pop round for a cup of tea. Then he would say, we're going out for a walk, and if you don't go for a walk, I'm going to kidnap you and chuck you in the back of my van. Right? If I don't go, which I haven't been on one yet, so I'm still waiting for that. Or John and Gid would come round. They've been around a few times for a cup of tea, and we've had chats and stuff like that. And then like Sam would message me on WhatsApp, and Debu, and all of them. They're all there. They're all a massive good bunch of guys, and there's so much talent with the SDVC. There's so many good DJs in there. I know the DJ thing. Some people don't like to be called a DJ, but trust me, some of those people that play on that SDJ, that's just wow. Well,
yeah, I think the beauty of that is we're sharing a common passion that we have, which is music, and it breaks down so many barriers, doesn't it? And like you say, some people will say they're just a selector, some people will say they're a collector. Some people are out and out DJs and stuff like that. But the thing that we share is that passion of music. And like I said, Twitch is, I'm watching people over in Japan. I'm watching them in all around the world. Some of them are not even speaking English, but I'm loving what they're doing.
Do you remember that time we watched that girl do that stream? Well, I was talking to you on Facebook, on WhatsApp. Do you remember that woman?
It was. I think it was part of the. Was that part of the 45
Queens?
Queens. It was the. It's a lady who played all the rock and roll and the rockabilly stuff.
Yeah,
I can't think.
Fassbender from Germany, or
no, she just had so much energy. She was playing a tune, she was dancing. So it was just a fantastic stream to watch it. And unbeknown, myself and Double P were watching this stream, separately, not knowing. And then we kind of messaged, like later on, saw this, someone on the 45 Queens playing. So, and we're like, oh wow, yeah, I'll watch that. And it was like, it's just. I thought, as I said, Twitch has been brilliant for.
It's
discovering.
It's been amazing, for me, I spoke to Rob and I said, let's consider the name of the thing and that, and let's do a 45 Queens thing, and it worked well, and it's just what I get is people are appreciative of everything. I'm totally appreciative, and I know, Sam is probably the biggest Twitch person in this room, and I know he appreciates it, and that comes across. I think it's really important because we do all appreciate where we are, you know.
Well, I remember when Sam started streaming, when he first started streaming, and he did his roulette thing, and I kid you not, I was messaging I was messaging him when we got away for our wedding anniversary to see what track he was playing so I could play it.
Did you have been concentrating on your wedding anniversary instead
of
going
for a walk? She goes, "What are you doing?" I went, "Nothing." I went, "Hang on, we've got music playing." Yeah, I'm just watching Sam. What, again? Yeah, but I'm asking him what tune this is so I can buy it. She's like, anyway,
I was going to say, hopefully the net's not watching to this evening, because you might be in the doghouse tonight, Paul. You don't know.
He knows anyway.
I like that you're watching Sam again. You know, Sam's not on very often, so it's always good to catch one of his sets. But yeah, I'm joking, Sam. Yeah, but it's also other things, isn't it? I mean, and Paul, you know this from you know, I just had to go and put Zia to bed. You know, it's easy 45, and you know, she came up with the 45 kids concept, and then obviously you know that's inspired, you know, Minimal P. You know, I mean that's bonkers, really. You know,
he did a set. He was doing a set on his own. Remember, Joey watched it, and I said to him, "You're under pressure now. Criztoz is watching it."
Yeah.
That's a brilliant thing, though, isn't it? Because, like, you know, obviously sort of children, especially younger children, are just watching what, you know, sort of dad's doing or mum's doing. So that's a brilliant, fantastic thing to bring them into. And again, it's that passion, that music, because I mean, I've got twin sons. They're 24 going on to 25. I know I don't look.
What?
Guys,
you don't look old enough, John.
No, thank you. So, and one of them got really into DJing when he was around 16. He was doing some sort of, you know, he was doing school leaving parties and stuff like that. But quite often I'm sort of playing music, and he'll come and start singing, and I say, "Hey, do you know that?" And he said, "Oh, you were always playing tunes when we were young," and stuff like that. So he's, again, that just that engagement with the music and just what it means, and you know, that's how, you know, we just sort of, it stays in your subconscious, and that's another thing where people have locked in. But the 45 kids, I thought, was just a fantastic concept, and again, slightly different, you know, but brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Well, it's turning something of a negative. We said this before we sort of came on, weren't we, about how if it wasn't for COVID, you know, we wouldn't all be sat here or all on Twitch all the time. And it's you know, there's only so much we can do at the moment because we're all still relatively under lockdown. And the fact that, you know, quality time doing something rather than just sitting in front of the TV and watching, you know, kids filmed or whatever, you know, you're actually doing something, and it's creative and it's good for their brains, and you know, and who knows where it's going to lead. You know, one day, you know, Minimal P and, you know, Zia might be opening up for some crazy gig somewhere in Ibiza.
Well, you know, we did a SGB stream a couple of weeks ago, and there was a young 13-year-old lad on there, Beat Boy B, and he was on there, and you know, it's just great to see, you know, a younger generation sort of like coming through. And you know, because we're not going to be sort of in the clubs forever, are we, at our age? But you know, but it's just good to see. It's good to see other people, you know, young people sort of playing with vinyl and experimenting with vinyl, you know, and just getting that enjoyment that we've got out of playing music for years. So, you know, brilliant, brilliant.
And start from a young age, and you know,
the brains are like sponges when they're young. They will absorb things. Yeah, they'll absorb things so much more quicker than what you do if you start leaving it and learning later. So yeah, why not? Yeah, definitely.
I mean, my DJ name and James's DJ name was named by tunes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the name came from.
So with that and kidnapping,
we've got tunes in the house.
He's got a lot to answer for, hasn't he? That and kidnapping people, he's got.
He does. He chucked me in the van, calls me a name, everything. He's terrible. No, he got me into buying camper vans.
Yeah. You started off with 45s. That was expensive enough. Now you're buying camper vans. It's terrible, isn't it?
Sorry, mate. I got him back. I got him back anyway because he's got a motorbike now, so he's all right. He's following
Oh, there you go.
Which is more expensive, the motorbike or the camper van?
The 45s.
Well, yeah,
45s, mate. Yeah, definitely. It's terrible though. It's terrible. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
And when you look at
DJ Sweet Tooth in the house.
Oh, Sweet Tooth. You should do what I just do. You should just buy a unicycle and be done with it.
Yeah. But
no, it's I don't know. We've all got these things that we do, haven't we? That sort of. But yeah, here's an interesting one. Would you guys say that you bought more records during lockdown
Yes.
than what you were buying before? Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked it all out for this year, but I'm pretty sure I have bought more. I think it's an addiction.
It is. Yeah.
I don't mind. I'm Criztoz. I'm a 45 addict, and I think we all are. And it is being a record collector anyway, regardless of 45s, 12s, 10 inches, whatever you're doing. It is quite an addiction because you're always trying to get the next one. And if it wasn't, you'd stop, because I've got hundreds, thousands. Sam Tweaks has got millions of sort of 45s, and yet we're still buying more. There's this sort of fear of missing out, isn't there? Oh, I've got to get that one because then it might be sold and it might then suddenly triple in value and I won't be able to get it, and I need that tune.
I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned when Google Earth go over Wales that they're going to find Sam's got about an extra 10 sheds in his back garden.
He was talking about some sort of jukebox just for 90s 45s the other day.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
He said, oh, this is for my jukebox collection. And I think Tommy was like, oh, what? You've got a jukebox just for those 45s from the 90s? But
yeah, I'll be very honest. I've only come to the 45 games very recently. So say collecting vinyl for years, DJing for years.
Yeah.
So the 12 collection is 10,000. There's a lot there. So I'm playing an incredible catch up now. When I started the 45, I set up by saying, if I've got it on vinyl, I'm not buying it on 45 because if I want to play it on vinyl, I'll play it on 12. And then I realized very quickly that wasn't going to work. So obviously I've got tracks on 12 and I've got the same track on 45. So that's
a weird concept, isn't it? And I think there's a lot of chatter about that in the sort of hip hop, certainly the older hip hop DJs going, oh, but you've got it on 12. Why do you need to rebuy it on 45? And it's a strange one, isn't it? Because it's the format. We all love the format. It's simplicity. It's one track on one side, one track on the other side. Sometimes two, obviously, if it's a 33 or whatever. But that is an addiction, though, isn't it? Oh, I've got it on 12, but I must have it on a 45
So I'm finding myself doing that more and more. Again, because of lockdown, I'm going online. I'm thinking, oh, of course, you start scrolling through people's lists, whether it's on eBay or Discogs or something like that. Oh, I'll get that. And you go to the checkout and you think, really?
Yeah.
How many have I ordered? It's crazy.
Don't ever go on Juno, mate, and look at your order history.
Well, I'm actually thinking. I am actually quite nervous about presenting my books to my accountant for the past 12 months, because obviously there's been sort of 0 gigs, but there's been a lot of purchases. So
that's a problem, isn't it? It's I've spent all this money on records. Well, how can you justify?
What income have you had? Yeah.
But then again, it's a loss, and then hopefully March, April onwards, whatever, then hopefully we'll be back out again doing.
Yeah,
something.
I mean, the roadmap's in place. I've been fortunate enough to have a few sort of phone calls and Zoom meetings over the past sort of couple of days with venues that I worked with previously and promoters sort of getting things back online. So obviously the buzz is getting back there again for sort of real life gigs, if that's such a thing. But so it'd be interesting. And like we were saying just before we started, hopefully if those gigs are involving travel and certainly if people are fortunate enough to DJ around the world and they've made contacts through Twitch and and things like that when they've been streaming, we'll get the chance to meet some of these people that
you were saying before, weren't you, about Sweet Tooth, and then right on cue you come in.
Absolutely.
Flatwax is on a bit as well when you're doing a big getting together, and we're all going, let's all get a load of cars and go up to Scotland.
Well, we were saying this on Coffee and Donuts, weren't we? And
that's right.
You could go around. I mean, who knows? It's even if it's just us lot DJing to us lot in real life. It's still going to be amazing, isn't it? Really, and listening to it on a proper sound system rather than on your phone or on your laptop or whatever. It's going to.
And as I said, in a bar where you can have a beer.
Yeah.
Not in your front. Front
I think it's. I was talking to my wife about this at the weekend, and although I think we're all pretty excited about getting back into DJing in pubs, but it's going to be carnage, I think. those people who haven't been in a pub for a long time.
I've had a lot of conversations with a couple of DJs about, you know, missing gigs, obviously missing gigs, but maybe not missing drunk people. You know, obviously the beauty of Twitch is you've got that interaction with people, you know, and, you know, there's always been, you know, always shot time and it's this time and it's that time, but you know, it's quite, you know, that side of DJing in a live environment can be quite frustrating, and you're worried about kit and, you know, people got drinks
exactly,
and stuff
especially
like
with
that,
us, you know, when you've got your decks there and your sound system and you know your records, which are probably worth more than all of that put together, and you know, you've got your hen parties and your stag do's and all the rest wandering in. I mean, that I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's really interesting to see what happens. We did have a question from Sam actually, and I don't know if anyone answered it.
What was that?
Anyone in the chat mentioning no names taking an angle grinder to a 12-inch?
That'd be tunes, wouldn't it?
Not me personally, but I'm just wondering if Sam wanted to when he was getting his issues.
Oh.
No, why? I would be very interested as to why Sam would say that. But that's obviously something.
It was tunes.
I'm not going to ask why tunes.
I know what it was. He had the 12-inch of the Birdie song, mate. He wanted to get rid of it.
I take it he took it to the vinyl and not the actual deck then.
Oh, here we go. Tunes has cut down a 12.
No way.
Cut it down to a 45.
When it says Carver, Darren, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean a DIY
he still
Carver.
Plays it. He still plays it.
Brilliant.
I'll tell you something actually, very interesting. Sam very kindly put on a little rave raid train on Saturday, so I was fortunate to play with that. And I was going through all the old vinyl. It's all 12s. Sam had a lot of it on 45, as only Sam can. But some of the things some of the tracks were cut that bad, I couldn't even explain. One of them, I placed the needle on the record and it started, and then it stopped and it started again. But it started in the middle of the song, and I thought it was scratched and it jumped into it. I'm thinking, what was the engineer doing? Or, you know, I was really gobsmacked by some of it. And again, the whole thing with 45s, we've spoken a lot about this. Sub pressings being quite weak, you know, and inferior in sound quality, and the difference between an A and a B side, it's quite remarkable. But I think 45s, DJing 45s, having come from sort of DJing a lot with 12s, and then being digital for a number of years, I've, you know, really started appreciating how much you've got to, you know, you've got a very short time. You've got to work it. It keeps you on your toes, DJing 45, 100%. You know, so I think that's like during lockdown, I've reverted back to DJing on turntables, both vinyl and digitally. I've kind of, you know, the CDJs and the controller that I bought just prior to lockdown, it's just kind of been mothballed. And I've just enjoyed sort of getting back on the decks again. And you know, I've got to shout out people like you know, like all the SGVC tunes got me doing vinyl sets going back a number of years ago. A guy called DJ Fade sort of got me back up and, you know, saying, look, you've got all this vinyl and sat there, what are you doing with it? And it wasn't doing anything. And they would invite me to do some DJ sets, and I'd do a couple at you know, a year. And I've really, that's another thing that lockdown has enabled me to do, is kind of work through my record collection. I've had some time on my hands, so I've managed to group it and alphabetize it and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I've been finding all these gems again. So, and it's because you haven't got to worry about a dance floor if you're streaming. No, exactly. You know, you can do different, so you can do down tempo sets, you can do whatever, you know. And, you know, even the rave set, I mean, I wouldn't get the opportunity to play rave stuff right now, really, unless I was specifically asked to do something like that. So that was just an absolute blast to me. And I'm usually playing, you know, stuff around, you know, anything from like 90 to 100 BPM, 105 BPM is what I'm playing now with the soul and the R&B and the hip hop stuff. So like to go back to that kind of stuff, you know, that was an absolute blast. So Twitch enabled DJs, I think, to explore their record collections again.
Well, I think Fatwax said it before. It's so different, and so for me as well. You know, I used to have like my record bag next to my decks. Then it got into like two little sort of trays, and then it's now like four. And basically, you've got not all of them, but you've got hundreds of tracks that you can just pick out whenever you want, and so your set is a lot more interesting than it would be if you're in a bar, because you've only got what you've got with you. And I think that's the other thing that Twitch really expands, and digging deep in the crate, and you can play, and I said this before, you can play literally whatever the hell you like, and
the good thing about
you've got no barman telling you, oh, this is crap, or some venue owner saying, what the hell are you fucking playing? It's you can play what you want. Sorry, Paul, I think I interrupted you there, mate.
Yeah, no. The good thing about Twitch is I mentioned it to Sam as well. I mean, I think I mentioned to you, Criztoz, as well, about the I've managed to sort out an international raid train with Canada.
Yeah,
I'm stoked about that. I think Roland Adams in here as well, actually, on the chat. He's going to come in on it as well. But yeah, that's where can you do that? Anywhere else? You can't do that anywhere else.
Exactly. I mean, look. I mean, I thought I was supposed my 45th birthday was at Christmas. It was supposed to be in real life was going to be just our local pub, and I'd get a few 45s DJs locally do that. Obviously, that went out the window, and then I just thought, right, let's do a live stream, message people, and the people I had was, I thought, amazing. And then Sam comes along with his sort of 4-day event with all these amazing DJs from around the world, and that I have to say that was an amazing night, and it was like being at a party, because although I was sat at home, no need to be sorry, Sam, although I was sat at home in front of a screen, it was with like my mates on Twitch, my online community, my sort of expanded 45 Kings 45 day, and it was amazing, and it really felt like we were all part of something. But how would that would never even be possible in the real world?
I mean, if you think about it, these raid trains and these things that are put on now, because and these birthday events, because there were obviously quite a few in that month as well.
I'm not going to forget it, because the Sideshow always picks me up on this. It's like, my birthday was also good. Xambra was also good.
I mean, a lot of them. I mean, I don't think there was a weekend in February where there wasn't a birthday sort of raid train. But it's almost like a DJ festival that we're experiencing. And it's phenomenal, because you're hearing other DJs' collections. You're obviously seeing some amazing DJs and selectors. Just everyone's slightly different. I mean, when you DJ, it's an extension of your personality, but you're just seeing all these. Say we've got that buzz of music, we've got that connection straight away. But just seeing how people have come together, and they help people out on their birthdays and streams, and everyone's there, and just getting that buzz out of that music in crazy times where we can't go out and do that. It's been phenomenal. So and some of the streams now are reaching fantastic.
It's letting people into our lives as well. Really
into our homes.
Exactly. That's the point, isn't it? We're all DJing, like we said earlier. Your loft or your house or your whatever. It's not some sort of club or pub that's set up for it and all the rest of it. So it's quite an intimate thing, and like you said before, when we've all started, and sometimes even now, you're DJing to 1 or 2 or 3 people or whatever. Other times you might DJ to 50, 100. It depends what's going on, but it doesn't matter really. You're playing, someone's listening, and there is a potential for interaction. And
I am waiting. I am waiting for the Sam Tweaks Shed stream, though. I'm waiting for that one. That's got to be a thing, right? Before
Shed stream.
It's got to be in that. We've got to see this actual shed. Yeah.
We've got to get him in the shed, man. We actually keep threatening to go down there with a motorbike and sidecar and kidnapping him.
Where all the 45s are, where he's like, oh yeah, I've just picked this one up from the sheds.
Yeah, but we were talking as well, and there's talk at the moment, because with things going to be sort of starting to open up. Will Twitch still be a thing for DJs? And absolutely, I believe it will be, because I think what has happened with streaming is it has presented another avenue for DJs to get on, and I think that like I said, I've not listened. I used to listen to a lot of radio, and I've not listened to a great deal of radio, certainly in the last 6 months, but I've listened to a lot of streams. So the way that I'm listening to music, I think that engagement that I'm getting through streams and Twitch is different. And I think that will continue. There'll be DJs that'll go, back to club DJing, but then, not all DJs are fortunate enough to DJ sort of 7 nights a week. So they may still choose to stream on a Monday or a Tuesday,
They
or they may have,
I think they will.
and they may have built up an international audience that enables them to stream on a daytime. On a Monday or a Tuesday.
I think a good sales point, like not a sales point, but like say for instance, you did a gig at say I don't know whatever club it was, Jack's, was it Jack's?
Yeah,
the one in Jack's.
Yeah.
Well, you could in theory have some DJs playing live, and then you could go right. Okay, now everybody's dancing. There's a TV screen. Here's Sam Tweaks virtually live in Wales.
It's interesting you say that. Yeah, you could do that. We did. So in between the lockdowns, when we had the whole seating scenario of sort of
that's right.
That's when we did one of our events, and it was a seated one, and we did stream it. And then myself and Sam were due to sort of DJ in November, but then sort of lockdown 3 came along, and we weren't going to do that. And we were talking about, because that was going to be a vinyl one, whether we would stream it or whether we would certainly show, like have a camera on the decks and then have that sort of on a large screen behind us on stage, just because people have got used to seeing that visual side.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to see the end of Twitch, because it's like we've said, we've built a massive community with people that I would never speak to. We wouldn't be sat around in this conversation. I certainly wouldn't have streamed on the 45 Kings a couple of times now, and it just gives you so much confidence. I mean, look at the drum and bass set I did. I told you, John, wasn't it? I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. I'm not going to do it, mate. I'm not going to do it. And then Nat Jacko, she tuned in from Brazil. I mean, really? Brazil?
Yeah.
And as soon as I went on her show to watch some of her, she went Double P. She went whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah.
It's like walking into your favorite pub, knowing that your mates are going to be there. It's that sort of thing. You don't know who's going to be there, and you stick your stream on, or you just walk into a chat, and it's your mates. And it is the community. And I think that's what's done a lot. It certainly kept me going the last year and a half, and it's not just a distraction, it is something positive that's come out of it. It's great.
I think when like Sam, I think before Sam started doing Twitch, I think he started doing Twitch, I think it might have been the summer last year, but Deboo and that, they set up a radio show called Stroud Lockdown Radio, and that was, it was on a Sunday, or it was on a weekend, I think it was. And Deboo's voice on a Sunday morning, straight lockdown radio with his vibes, man. That got me through those weeks of lockdown with that radio show, because there was loads of good DJs on that as well.
Yeah. Just really what? I
think X-Ray Ted's got it right.
But
I can't remember who else it was who said, we got T-Funk in the house as well.
Hey, T-Funk.
Hey.
I think it was Jimmy Needles put a comment up on Facebook that, when he's back to sort of DJing, all these people are going to be coming up going, hey, I'm Monkey Face number 3, whatever. And you're like, oh, yeah, John. And then, because everyone's got their personas and, everyone's different. But it is going to be very interesting. He was saying that you should have your T-shirt, so when you go into a pub, you've got your.
That's right. Yeah, you could have, couldn't you?
Twitch name on it. Exactly. There you go. Sweet Tooth there. Name tags. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I've been fortunate enough to play an event over in Spain, Soul Village, and on the first night they make everyone wear name tags. So you just instantly then so then for that rest of that week, because you've seen someone on the first night and you know their name, their actual name, but some people do put alternative names and stuff like that. But the whole Twitch thing, but I guess that's DJ names in general. I mean, I've always DJed under I haven't always DJed, but for a number of years now I've DJed under John Mustoe, and then for some reason I started going on a few things, and I think it was Stroud Lockdown Radio I went on, and there was a chat room, what do you want your name to be? So I put Mr Mustoe. People often say to me, oh, Mr Mustoe's in a chat or whatever, so I just put Mr Mustoe. So it's kind of something that when I went across the Twitch, I thought, what should I say? And Mr Mustoe. So it's really weird, but I think you're right. You could all go around with T-shirts on and Yeah, and then so people will be able to identify.
Well, what you do as well, you have like little emojis flying around as well.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Flying around. Oh look,
what are we going to do? What are we going to do without the emojis? You know.
Mate,
I don't know.
You got to do the emojis, man.
Yeah,
we'll have to work out a way where we can do that. We'll have to work out.
It's a very strange world, isn't it? We're all sort of, you know, middle-aged men, middle-aged women, and you know, and basically we're all very interested in having like an emoji of Sam tweaks his bearded face, or you know, anything else that's going on. And it's again, I think it comes back to the collector thing that we were talking about earlier, about collecting 45s, and I think emotes are the same thing, aren't they? It's, you know, people trying to collect that particular emote, but it's also a language, isn't it? It's a completely different way of how people communicate.
I mean, sadly, my emotes won't be coming out yet for my channel because my affiliate is still not confirmed my bank details. So
you know what? I think that's. I mean,
try a different payment process and see if that does anything.
Yeah, I mean, we've again see there you go straight away. Someone giving some advice. You know, it's been brilliant. I mean, there's trials and tribulations with Twitch because, as I said, we've all been there where we've got frustrated with one person watching, and to be truth is probably we then realise that it's our own mobile we're monitoring it with. But you know, and then you get tech issues, so sometimes you get down. But you know, you get issues and stuff like that when you're DJing out in real life, and you get nights that are not so good as other nights. So you have to take it up with it smooth. But what I found is, you know, there's always been someone there who's been there to sort of give advice. You know, oh, have you tried that? Oh, next time that happens, just do this. So, and that's been so positive. That's been really, really good. So, as I said earlier on, you know, if people are still thinking about it, I would just say just get on and do it. You know, don't wait. If you've got a phone and you want to go live, just go live on your phone and build your tech side of things up. But sort of, I likened it to, do you know when we used to DJ and you'd stick a cassette in and just record yourself, and then you just get into the album sticking a cassette. So I just say to people, look, if you're going on and you're practicing playing tunes, just press start. Just press start straight. If you've got
rather than just playing tunes to yourself, you know, you're just playing stuff. You know, I mean, like when I was building up the 45 day to try and, you know, get affiliate and just sort of get going from that, you know, I think there was like 2 or 3 people watching at that time, and there was nothing in the chat. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I don't know, it looks like there's 2 viewers, 3 viewers, who knows, nothing going on in the chat. And then you get to the end and you're like, right, okay, you know, I'll see you again next week. And then someone says, oh, you know, great set, or nice set, or I like that. And, you know, people are listening, even if they're not. I always
see. I mean, I chatted with John, Sam, and probably a few others about this. About, you know, when you're playing, you're always looking at see how many people you're watching you. I don't know what it is, but I keep pressing that button, and I'm like, well, okay, there's 4 people.
It's another addiction. It's another addiction, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Sam's very good about it. He says,
I would say that's an addiction not to do if you can. Not worry about that, then, you know, that, because as I said, that can sort of get people down. I mean, I've been fortunate enough, I've been lucky, I've been on radio for 20 years and I do community radio, so there's no producers, and sometimes you're just in a room and you're playing music, and you know, you're in a room on your own, you're playing so you don't never know who's listening. But then you're walking down the street back in the old days, and like someone comes and say, I love your radio show, I listen to it all the time. You know, and Twitch can very much be like that sometimes, and if some people save their videos, some people don't. So sometimes you can go back on and you can think, really, that video's been viewed how many times? You know, if you do. So it's, you know, it's a different kind of thing again. So it's not that I've got 30 people in front of me in a pub which I can see are tapping their feet and liking the stuff that I'm playing. It's, you know, it's very different to kind of know who's the other side of the screen. So you know, maybe we shouldn't get so hung up on numbers, but just enjoy that music that we're playing again. Really,
it's just having fun, isn't it? I think, you know, it's you know, we all love playing music, and I know I do, and as long as you're having fun and it's making you feel good, it's going to help. And you know, part of this is all about mental health. For me, it's on a Saturday morning, getting down and playing on Coffee and Donuts for an hour gets me in such a good mood for the rest of the day, because it's just, you know, I'm just playing music that I enjoy, and other people happen to be watching and happen to be interacting. And music is amazing in lifting people up and lifting your spirits.
I think that, you know, for me, I know it's probably the wrong thing to look, like you say, if it's numbers, then obviously because I've got such a low opinion of myself, you're always looking for recognition, right? So when you do I say this is my take on it, but obviously it's not, because I wouldn't be streaming. I said to Sam about it, and Sam said, don't give up, just keep on going. Steve Newcomb, and I think Roger said if I give up, they kick my ass. So they've actually said that. But yeah, so for me, if I'm looking at a number and it isn't a number that my brain likes, it's like, oh, I must be crap then. That's you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. This is what's going on in my head. Now, I'm not going to take away from the positives that the music is, because music is a positive way. But there is that one little thing that I need to train my brain and not to do, is look at the numbers who's watching and just bloody play. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's something that it's said there's positives and negatives with everything, isn't it? And that's one of the negatives that I think we've all experienced on Twitch. And like I said, if any, we give each other the advice, and we need to take it on board ourselves sometimes. And that's, don't look at the numbers, just enjoy the music that you're playing. If you get the interaction, and if you're enjoying it, then people will see that you're enjoying it, and that's part of that whole brilliance of Twitch, isn't it? Because then people start vibing off your vibe. So, and then in turn, then you'll start vibing off theirs. So, that's the pretty thing. But if there's no one in the chat, then there's no one in the chat, but you're still playing tunes that you love and enjoy. So take it for a fantastic practice session, or all experience, or whatever it is, but don't just think because all of a sudden I've switched on and 5 minutes later I haven't got anyone watching, I need to switch off now. I think just continue, because as I said, it's all a build, isn't it, as well?
I mean, I turned on to do a stream on Tuesday, and that was okay. Then I did one on Wednesday, and then I did one on Thursday last week, and I was playing, and all of a sudden I'm looking, oh, there was 10 or 12 people watching. I was like, oh, great. And I think the longer you play, the numbers come up. But
that's a different issue, isn't it? I think the way Twitch works is obviously, the longer your sets and the longer you're streaming for, then obviously people can get, if you're playing short sets, it's one thing we have with the 45 Kings, because we're constantly swapping DJs every hour. Although it's streaming, a view is automatically cut, and then build up again, cut. So it's only when you have a really long set. But here's a tip that I've got. So I stream for a Facebook group who stream on Mixcloud Live. I don't particularly like Mixcloud, because I think it hasn't got the community that we have. Maybe one day it will do, but with that, unless you are logged in, you can't see how many viewers you've got. You can see views, like how many people have clicked on that page. So that might be 150, 120, but you've got no idea how many people are viewing. So when I'm streaming for them, I've got no idea how many people are doing. So I've got to the point where now when I'm streaming anything else, I've got my daughter's Kindle because my laptop's broken. Is that Minimal P there?
Minimal P.
Hey, Zia says hello, by the way.
Oh, Zia says hello. Say hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
So I've got my daughter's Kindle, and it's there, and I've just got it running Twitch through a browser. And on a browser, you can't see how many people are watching you. So I can see the chat, I can see who's in the chat, I can see who's people, but I'm not worried or concentrating about, is it 10 people, 20 people, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe try that. Try that. Just have somebody that doesn't have the viewer link.
Yeah, I will say a funny story though. When I first started streaming on my own, and I did it for the first time, I'm thinking, who the hell is this streambot dude that keeps running? Every time I come on, he's always watching me. And I'm looking, and it's not. It's the streambot thing.
That's Stream Elements.
Yeah,
Stream Elements. Sorry, Stream Elements.
Yeah.
And something else called Car Booty or something. I don't know. I was thinking, man, every time I turn on, he's always tuned in. Eh?
There's a few good comments actually come up in it. I mean, shout out to Danny Bounce. He said about the fact, you've got some world class or world known DJs that are streaming, streaming on Twitch, and they've got, next to nothing listeners. But it's like I said earlier on, those people would have just rammed massive clubs. They may even be stadium DJs. You know, they may have done some fantastic things. But we've all started this journey together, and we've all gone back to zero bedroom DJ, haven't we? So, you know, it takes time. I think the thing is as well, what we're also seeing for people who've sort of jumped on Twitch sort of recently is the people who started that journey maybe at the beginning of lockdown have had that 12 months now to build that community. You know, they probably benefited from being on early, and now we're all trying to maybe imitate some of their success. And you say you can get caught up on these. Yeah, you can get caught up on these numbers, and you think, well, why has he got 50 or 100 or 150 or 200, and I've got three? You know, it is a slow burner. Sweet Tooth said it's a slow burner. One of the hardest things that I found is the demographic of people our age group might not want to go on. What's Twitch? I don't want to go on to a different platform.
Yeah, true.
And I don't want to do another log on and do this. Why can't you do it on Facebook Live? Well, I can do it on Facebook Live, but I'm having to get booted off every 5 minutes.
Well, it's like YouTube as well, isn't it, John? YouTube does the same, doesn't it, mate? You have to monitor it all the time, don't you?
I mean, we sometimes when we do the back in the day streams, we're doing them on multi-platform. So we do Facebook, we do Mixcloud, we do Twitch. You know, so what we're finding is you are resetting Facebook on a regular. Mixcloud, we were fortunate enough that we already had an established Mixcloud page, so we're okay with that. I quite like the fact of Mixcloud because the artist gets the royalties, but there's a subscription charge to that. Everyone's got used to streaming on Twitch for free.
Yeah,
you quite rightfully highlight the fact. The only negative for me with the Mixcloud thing is there's not that interaction with that chat as yet. If they need to do something, they need to do that. But Mixcloud has been notoriously quite slow with things. But one thing I will say about Mixcloud is they have always been there for the artists, you know, and sort of DJs to that extent. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen in the next sort of 12 months and stuff like that, and you know, what's going to happen with what platform rises to the top of what platforms are still there. I mean, you know, we might start getting copyright police on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think that would be the only thing that would totally kill Twitch if they start muting streams. And I was talking to Matt Claver from Waxworks the other day, and he said he one of his mates saw it being done live at some point where it was being muted. One of the DJs was muted. So I think if Twitch gets to that point, like, you know, Facebook, where it starts muting DJs, I think that's when the jump would have to happen, because
do you think though, because Twitch, I'm assuming they take a percentage of the bits that the people give to the DJs, the subscriptions. That's a revenue they're getting. So if they, I mean, I'm assuming there's so many people DJing on Twitch now anyway, so the numbers wouldn't. You know, I'll say it's copyright.
I think the issue for it is, and this is what Facebook was saying. Facebook and Twitch, they're not licensed music platforms.
No.
So the issue is that the recording industry will sort of come after them for royalties, and they'll hold them responsible for the likes of, you know, John DJing on Saturday night, you know, which they've got no real control over. They can start to block individuals like that, but it's you know, they're not getting the royalties now. I think the whole issue with the sort of Facebook and Insta, why it started to get really shut down, was the fact that obviously the record companies weren't getting sort of additional revenue from the likes of sort of concerts and things like that from artists, and a lot of artists then weren't recording and putting out material, so that even their revenue stream dried up or reduced heavily. So you know, for them not to be licensed, they'll go after the big boys. But one of the things I think really sort of annoyed me was when you have DJs who are established and they could do long sets on like Instagram and stuff like that without getting shut down. I mean, there was this whole thing about, I think,
that was like on Facebook as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like, it still goes on now,
didn't he? He did somehow was able to DJ for 2 hours or 3 hours or something because he had 10,000 people watching him, and it's just
you know, sort of, you know, D-Nice was like, you know, 9 hours streaming, not getting checked out on Instagram and stuff like that. Obviously, because quarantine's it was massive. You know, they had thousands of people sort of logged in at some point, and this, you know, I think there was that whole thing of a whitelist for certain DJs. And the leveler for Twitch, as we said several times, it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, everyone's been on that same thing, so they've had that chance to build up that community together. Whereas I don't think that's been fair. That some people have had things muted and some people haven't. So
No.
it would be interesting to see how the next 12 months sort of proceed from a streaming point of view.
I think though, if they were going to shut it down, I think they would have probably done something. I know that Criztoz said this to me as well, and I stopped doing it, but it's still doing. I don't know how you stop it. Is when you do a stream set, you don't record it, and then it automatically goes on your page.
You need to. There's a setting that you need to switch off, save past broadcast. So the way we do it is we used to have that. We have it set on. I try and grab it immediately when a set finishes and download it, and then as soon as it's downloaded, delete it off there. So it is on there for probably about 10 minutes or so. But if you don't grab it straight away, Twitch mutes it. So within about 2 minutes, I think Twitch mutes it. But I think that's when they sent that copyright email to everyone, and people obviously started panicking, which I think quite rightly they did. But I don't know. We're still, compared to the gamers, we are still tiny. The gamers have 10,000, 20,000 people watching them. It's bonkers, and we have 100 maybe if you're lucky. It's
I've seen them sort of talking about the music. Obviously, if you've got something like Grand Theft Auto, that's got a lot of music on it. I've seen people talking about sort of like the copyright implications on that now on Twitch for games.
No
which
way.
It's quite frightening. But as I said, the record industry are going to sort of come out if they're not getting royalties. They are going to eventually come after these people.
But there is another flip side to it as well. So, like, say, for instance, we were on about records that we play, and my Shazam's doing that. Because you're thinking, I remember this, but I don't know what it is, or I want to get it. So you press Shazam, and then you're literally on eBay, Discogs, Juno, or whatever, right? So surely there must be a surge of record sales since Twitch as well. I don't know. There must be stats that, certainly for me, my records.
We're still. I think we're still. Because obviously we know a lot of people in the 45s community and all the rest of it. We are tiny. If you think most kids these days are not spending their money on buying records, they're probably not even spending it downloading them legally. If you can get rip something off Spotify or rip something off YouTube, that's what's happening. So even these bigger DJs, the music they're playing is not necessarily being bought by anyone. So it's it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
I think vinyl DJing is more of an art anyway. I think if you're playing off digital, I mean, like with their little whatever they are, CDJs, is it, or something? What they call them? I don't know.
CDJs, controllers, DVS, phase. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think everything.
Pressing the button and it's coming in and it's beat matched already, and I'm like, really? Don't impress me.
Oh, you can turn that off. You can turn that off.
And Dave, you're making that is a good point. They're not making money off second-hand vinyl, because of. I mean, the other issue we've got now is obviously shipping, and obviously tax and all the rest of it that's coming with Brexit and it's going to be very expensive, and very little of that money probably gets to the artist.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if it's just me, but I mean, just during lockdown, why have it seems that 45s have gone from an average of £10-12 to 15, 18 plus shipping or postage. And I think it was Jim Sharp and Rich Medina. They were Wednesdays on Wax in the week or whatever like that. And they were talking about that. And Jim was quite rightly, he was upset saying, why are we paying extortionate amounts for 45s? I know it's become, very much, a spotlight sort of market, but it does seem all of a sudden that they've sort of jumped up in price. Now, whether it's say the distributors or the shop owners are taking an additional cut on. But we all know what it costs to produce them. So, there's that whole thing. And like I said, there's then that fear. Then if you don't get it at that time, that, if it sells out, you're going to be paying 3 times that price, which is already inflated.
That's the addiction side of it, isn't it? And it's almost like trying to, like we said earlier on about trying to wean yourself off viewers. and how many viewers. You know, I'm trying to wean myself off sort of going on Juno, going on like the latest releases, you know, because certainly through lockdown, I was going through, like probably most people, you know, you buy records of other sites as well, but you know, you go through, see what's new. Okay, that looks good. I'll buy that. And it is getting stupidly expensive, but also it's trying to find and try and translate that into sort of digging online like you would in a record shop, because you know you wouldn't just go into a record shop and buy the latest release from that particular week.
No.
You'd have a dig around and see well what else is there, what, you know, what came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, because we've had that you know, we've had that sort of, you know, digging in shops sort of taken away from us. Then obviously our only sort of you know, availability to sort of buy stuff is that online scenario. So you know, perhaps we have been sort of caught by that, you know, because like I say, even postage charges have sort of miraculously gone up, even for UK things being shipped. So it's like, you know, the whole Discogs sort of charging and shipping sort of seems to have jumped up as well during the lockdown period. So it's a bit of a crazy one, but yeah, I mean, I see my 45s journey is relatively new. So I've been fortunate enough that a lot of my stuff is secondhand record store digging, you know, market digging and sort of car boot digging. And I kind of love that, because when you get those come up to the 50p and it's a track I really love, it's you know, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's kind of like falling in love with that record all over again, and you know, you feel
we did that dig, didn't we, John? And that man kindly let me use his turntable to play a record. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And the needle just dropped, like literally dropped it.
Yeah, I think
I was so careful.
Give the shop owner a heart attack, I think. Yeah.
I think this is the drum and bass version, mate. You're all right.
I think we're all looking forward to sort of being able to get back out into sort of like dig again as well. You know, I guess that's part of the thrill of sort of, you know, being a vinyl collector, really, isn't it? Is getting those come ups and just spending time digging as well. So
I mean,
yeah, great.
I've got my first Calyx unit here. You see this Calyx unit?
Yeah.
Well, we've got a story about that, haven't we, John?
You have, yeah.
When we turned up on after we went digging, and John goes, "Do you fancy popping over to Strade to get 3 Calyx units?" I went, "Yeah, no problem, mate. We'll take the van." Yeah, they were massive. 3 of them. We had to break them all down, and all we could hear was.
Yeah, we had a few dowels snap on the way back. Oh, it's quite hilly where we were going from back to our city where we live, and we lost a few dowels. And I think when we got back to Double P's, he had the pick of the bunch, and he got the good news. No. I've still got 2 Calyx units in bits.
Have you still not put them up yet?
No, I've not. No.
You're joking me.
No, I haven't drilled out all the dowels that have snapped off yet.
You can pull them out with a. It was funny, mine. It was funny. It
was funny for you. It was funny for you.
Mine's already built, mate.
Yeah.
That's got screws in some of them.
Yeah.
But that's still like the adventures, isn't it? You know, it's just memories as well. Good memories, man. You know.
Yeah, you always remember music's definitely memories, you know, especially if you've seen a band live, or you've bought, you know, I played like a DJ format and Abdominal 45 the other day, and it's like, yeah, I bought this at a gig, you know, and you'll always it's just in your brain, and you're always going to remember it, you know. So
music transfers you, doesn't it? It reminds you of sort of times, places. You know, maybe sort of like, you know, there was always, you always come back off holiday and there's a tune that you remember from your holiday and stuff like that. So when you hear that, it transports you back to those fond memories of that holiday. That maybe you get that feeling of sunshine on you, or you can hear in your brain the crashing of the waves and stuff like that. If it was a beach type song, music is very emotive, isn't it? Like that. So
definitely is. Yeah. Right. I think I'm going to see if anyone has any questions in the chat before we Sam's raiding, and we have been talking about Sam's playing. We have surprise. We have been talking about him a lot, so we'll probably raid to him afterwards. It's been great having you both on. You know, we've chatted about some interesting stuff to do with Twitch and, you know, mental health and everything else, and it's an ongoing conversation, I think, you know, and it'll be interesting to see how things progress, like we said, over the next sort of year, and hopefully, like we say, we'll be able to meet up in person. But yeah, before we go, is anyone got any questions? Anyone want to ask anything of anyone?
Come on, give us some questions.
Mark Lancaster.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Mark's actually a guest. Danny Bounce. I think Mark Lancaster can answer that one, actually.
What's the capital of Peru? Hang on a minute. I can't, mate. I can't answer that.
Mark Lancaster, Google. Do you know that one?
Capital of bloody Peru?
Who's going to be quickest on the Shazam or the Google?
There you go,
There you go. He's got it.
There you go. So, I was on the tongue, that was Mark. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me. I think I'll tell you what it was, mate. It's because we're delayed. We were going to answer it, and they've just come up with it. Sorry.
My brain's a little bit delayed, I think. Yeah, capitals and stuff.
I just noticed I've spelled episode wrong, but yeah. So next time round, so it's in about 3 weeks' time. I got Mark Lancaster and Adam Brer Grills, so that should be an interesting show. And then the next couple of Mondays we've got some raid events going on. So next Monday is International Women's Day, and I'm starting a funk raid thing with Sideshow Mall. We've got Julia Weck from Brazil and Constance K. And then after that, we've got 45 beats and breaks, hip hop instrumental samples, Tommy T, Chrome, me, and Evil Ed. So, yeah, some interesting stuff coming up on the channel. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. You know, it's been I've enjoyed it, and you know, hopefully it's all been a good chat. And it's nice to see everyone in almost real life.
Yes.
So here's the question. Hold on, we've got some more questions. What we got? Okay, Mark. Any records that really pick up your mood? Actually, we didn't quite talk about a couple of them.
No, we didn't do it.
Let's have one each. One each. Paul, you go first.
Well, I'll go for one. It's Mexico by DJ Tron.
Okay, yeah, I know the reason why. Do you want to tell people why?
Well, because obviously I was doing I did the Ace of Rays on Sam's birthday. And I think Gid played it on his stream. We did a stream on a Thursday night, and I'm like, oh my God, I really want that record. Can I play it? And literally he came around and dropped it off. So what I did is I put on the 45 Kings. I really need to buy DJ Tron's Mexico. So he pipes up and says, I can give you 2 copies, mate, for like 20 quid or something like that. Like, oh yeah, cheers, mate. Can you sign them for me? I'm like, yeah. So they came Saturday, one with DJ Double P from Mexico, from Switzerland to Mexico to England, and then I asked him if he would get one for Gid, so we signed one for Gid as well, because obviously Gid let me borrow that record for such an important event for me anyway.
That's part of the community, though, isn't it? And again, we're coming back to sort of leveling. You know, you can just message pretty much anyone
instantly.
Pretty much anyone. You know, I was saying to you before we came on stream, you know, Sam obviously got loads of great DJs for his 45th. I'm putting together the DJ lineup for the 45 day on 4th of May, and again, I've literally just messaged people and they've said, yeah, you know, it's amazing. Like you say, you know, you messaged him, he sent you records, he signed them, and that's personal. And again, you'll always remember that. You know,
I mean, that's
You've got to give me that, or send that card over, John, haven't you, mate, for the mix I've got to do.
So, John, coming to you then, any records that really pick up your mood?
Yeah, just for me, so I've got a bit of loose ends there, and that particular one is Nights of Pleasure. Now, that whole Segura album, just those mid-80s, I love 80s soul. I'm a massive 80s soul fan. And I guess, like a lot of us now, I've started to sort of like look back further through sort of record history. But I just played that album to death, and then I had all the 12s off it, and now I'm collecting all the 45s off it. But anyone who normally hears me sort of play out or sort of stream, I normally chuck a loose ends track in. Just such fond memories of that, and I guess it's just like what we said, music that's just transporting me back to long hot summers, really carefree days, you know, as a teenager with sort of friends and messing around in youth clubs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, fantastic memory for me. Anything from that Segura album, but Nights of Pleasure and Gonna Make You Mine were real sort of fond tunes off that album.
Yeah. And I think for me, probably General Levy, the Wrong Tom remix of Incredible. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about that tune. You know, I've seen Wrong Tom play a couple of times, and he's amazing. And obviously, General Lee was managed to get him see him live a couple of years ago in Hastings, where he came on. He literally played 3 tunes, and then went. You know, we've been waiting like all night on a drum and bass night to see him, and then came out, and we were like, oh, we're going to go. We're walking down the street, and then just bumped into him and said hello. And you know, I'm not sure he was that bothered about speaking to us, but you know, he was still nice. But yeah, that always brings me up. Rolling Adam, I don't know actually. Rolling Adam said, are there many lurkers watching the streams? We spoke about this earlier, didn't we? Because John, you were saying that you tend to have your phone on if you're watching it, and you're not watching, you switch the visuals off and you have it as a sort of almost like a radio show in the background.
Yeah, I think for me, Twitch has become the new radio, as I said. So I'm very much now, I was conscious of how much I was watching Twitch. You know, for a load, I was sat in front of the screen and I wasn't being, you know, so now I kind of like, I have it on, like leave the audio on, so it still enables me to do things. And then, so I guess, you know, again, from a mental well-being thing, you know, you can get out, listen to it, still do things, you're moving around, so you're getting, you know, that endorphin and stuff, you know. And I've even started using, like when I run or exercise, I'll have it on like the radio, as opposed to sort of, you know, getting to that point where you just sat in front of the screen, which is not too brilliant for you. So then again,
does your shoulders in. That's what I find. It's sort of leaning in.
Yeah, and again, you know, you do that thing, but then I say that, and then sometimes, you know, if I listen to some fantastic hip hop and turntable DJs, Beezus from the States being one of them, and he's just such a brilliant DJ. So I often find myself watching his stream because he's so technical, so brilliant, you know. But then, you know, there are other streams which are equally as good, but I'm trying to get away from the watching and use it almost like radio and listen a lot. So, that whole sort of like lurking. That's another thing as well, you know. There might be a lot of people watching, but they might not be sort of like as active in the chat because, again, we've got to be conscious of what they're doing in their day. They might be doing family things. They might be at work in a different country. Time zone's different. So all these things, we don't know the ins and outs of everyone who's sort of watching the stream. So again, it's another thing that we shouldn't be beating ourselves up about.
No, true.
Or, you know, it's great when people interact. Like say, people lurk and use it like a radio now as well. So it's another thing to be conscious of, I think.
Yeah. And it is difficult. It is an addiction again, and it's you know, I found obviously doing the 45. You know, I watch a lot of streams, and it's trying to be part of it, but also not spending 10 hours, you know, sitting in front of the TV. Well, sitting in front of this, but I think also I think what's interesting, Adam, is that especially when you've got raid trains, obviously you have however many 50 people say, and then they raid to the next one. You know, those people may not necessarily have been watching the raid before. They might have tuned in, watched a bit, still been sort of in there on the raid on Twitch. It's switched on, and then they go to the next one. So you might have people who have come from like 3 or 4 streams before who are not actually part of this current stream, and so they're lurking. They might be watching, they might not be watching, they might be listening, they might not be listening. So again, it comes back to numbers not really meaning anything, because
that's right.
You know, it doesn't really matter.
And I think also another thing, I've been a victim of this. You know, I've beaten myself up because I've had a raid, and then you lose people. You know, and you think
you're always going to do it.
Yeah. What have I done wrong? It's nothing that you've done wrong.
No.
You know, that someone's weekly Twitch schedule might be only watching that particular DJ. He's kindly raided into you. It's nothing to do with what you're doing or what you're playing. It's just the fact that, you know, they like that particular DJ. It's like a radio program. Like I said, they might switch on a certain radio program. If the presenter comes on, they kind of switch on. Immaterial of even giving him 5 minutes or them 5 minutes. Which because I always listen to whatever. So again, you know, we should really be beating ourselves up.
Sam said the same as well, mate. Sam said exactly the same thing, mate. Exactly the same thing to me as you've just said. You said exactly the same thing. Like you say, people are got things to do. Some people will drop in, say hello, and drop back out again, etc., etc. So I kind of get that concept now. So I'll try and get away from it.
T-Funk, that's very true, mate. You know, 47 log on Twitch, you know, pop-up hour, Funky Chef pops up and says, nice cuts. You know, that's all you need. And, you know, he's...
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Danny's got a serious question here. I like
nice biscuits.
Nice biscuits, but my wife says they're pronounced niece. Who is correct?
They're
Niece.
Niece, I think.
I mean, you're asking. Danny Bounce is asking a couple of farmers how to pronounce something. I mean, come on, Danny.
I got my tractor here, Danny.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got this on 45.
Yeah.
Is that niece or nice? I'm confused.
Niece.
Yeah.
I don't know actually. I don't care. I just eat them.
Danny Bounce is coming on the show in May with Fat Wax, so I'm looking forward to some more interesting biscuit-related questions on that day. But we will see what he comes up with. What else have we got here? Yeah, and I think what you come back to, the sort of people raiding and then it getting depressing. It is, especially if you're part of a raid train and then you get a raid and you think, I've got to keep these people. I've got to make sure these people play music. And it's almost the same thing of being in a club, isn't it, or a bar? You're trying to keep the people dancing or keep the people entertained, and you've just got to ignore it. I mean, we had. I think the biggest raid we had on 45 Kings was that the Funk Hunters came in when we did the Netherlands stream, and it was during Irie's set, and it was absolutely dope. He was killing it, scratching all over the place, and beat juggling and all sorts. And I think they brought in 200 people or something. And initially you get the people following, and you can just see it gradually going down and down and down and down and down. And it's not because the DJ's because he's like amazing, but it's just people come in, check it out, see what's going on. Attention span. Oh, okay. Oh, my other friend who's DJing, or the other person I'm doing, and then they sort of go off and do that. So ignore it. People. It's like a bar. People will come in, they'll have a drink, they'll go away again. Other people will come in, they'll go away again. It's getting away from that. It's moving into I'm playing music because I want to play this tune, and it's brilliant that other people happen to be watching.
Yeah,
other people across the world happen to be watching.
Yeah, I think that's the cherry on top, isn't it? The factor that while we're doing it is because we love music and we love playing music, and Twitch is giving us that ability to play music and do it, and that's what should be giving us that enjoyment factor. And then anything else that comes over and above that is the cherry on top of the cake. Because, like I said, certainly on the point of mental health, and we've all been there, I think, with streams. Oh, why am I bothering? Thing. Why am I doing that? Especially if we are, fortunate enough to DJ out and pull people into venues. You're suddenly thinking, why am I trying to start this journey all over again? Why am I putting myself through this pain? It can have its negative side. Streaming, it can do 100%. But I think if you embrace that positive of I'm playing music because I love to play music. I love music. And then anything else is a bonus.
That's why we all do it. Let's be honest. We wouldn't be spending, like we said earlier, 10, 15 quid on a 45 if we didn't love music, because you'd just be like, I'm not spending that. I can be spending that on something else. Coming back to the raid thing, I think Danny,
nice biscuits, we could be sending that on, couldn't we?
Exactly, we could be spending 15 quid on how many nice. There's a question: how many nice biscuits or nice biscuits can we get for 15 quid for the price of a 45?
Depends whether they're in the broken section or not,
They're in Tesco's.
Yeah, in the broken section where you get more for your money.
Yeah. But Danny makes a good point, because I think I watched a little bit of that stream, and I think he got raided by it was Four Color Zach. I think it was that one. It might have been a different one, but again, Four Color Zach's insane. He's just I tuned on one day and he had like 6,000 people watching him. It was absolutely bonkers. But yeah, so Flip Out was like, he kept saying, "Are you still in here? Are you still in here, Zach? Are you still watching me?" Every sort of 5 minutes. And obviously he wasn't, because Zach, got him in. We've got Mr. Lob in the house. Big up, Mr. Lob.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, that's a hilarious story he was telling us about earlier. 1 minute he is someone's favorite DJ, the next punter asked for Ricky Martin, which he didn't have, so he called me a shit DJ. Coming back to DJing in bars, I don't miss people coming up to you, and it's quite abusive, isn't it? I think I did an article about sort of comments you'd have, things like have you got anything that's not shit and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And have you got any other music, or have you got a particular tune that's actually playing at that particular time?
Can you play something that people will like?
Can you play something I can dance to? Can you play something I can dance to? You like, you know, how am I supposed to do that? I've got no idea. I don't know you. I've got no idea what you would dance to.
But those kind of people are normally 10 points in, aren't they? And they're, you know, swaying a little bit, aren't they? So that's one of the things I'm not going to enjoy about going back to DJing in venues is drunk people, to be honest. But But can you play my record next? That's a great one, isn't it? Even if you've got it, I'll play that for you. Yeah, can you play it next? I'm going. I'm leaving.
That's another one, isn't it? Me and my three mates are here. We want to hear some dubstep. Can you play it? Well, no, I haven't got any dubstep.
No, you can't. No way.
Can you play it now? Because we're just about. If you don't play it, we're going to leave. It's like, all right, see you later. You know who?
Like, I'm not stopping you. Bye. yeah.
Danny Bounce coming in. Yeah, I mean, it's not acceptable to go and have a go at anyone. You know, let alone a DJ.
No. Yeah.
Mark Lancaster. Yeah. Can I look through your box and see if you've got anything good? TT Funk. Yeah. Play their favourite tune and leave straight away. Adam, that is a very good. That's a very good response. Yeah. What about those who are staying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I've had, you know, we've all had those comments. And that's tribulations of sort of DJing out, isn't it? Really, you know,
it's water off a duck's back, isn't it? You know, we've all been around the block enough times to sort of just deal with it. You know. Yeah. And it's, you know, what do we get? What's Rob said? I got asked for R&B yesterday by playing it. Yeah. Exactly. These punters. I
do think it's funny that Rob knows one of my best mates from school, Jim Pearson. I think that's totally amazing.
It's a small world.
The world stuff. Yeah. It is a small world. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
Right. Anyone else got any more questions? No biscuit questions, Danny. Right, I think. Here we go.
Well, we can raid Ginger Biscuit, can't we? We can go and raid Mr. Tweaks.
Yeah. I think it's St. David's Day as well. So.
Or Mr.
Christmas fell out of the top, not my needle with a nipple. I didn't know where to laugh or cry. You wouldn't get away with that on Twitch, would you? You can't have nipples on Twitch. Didn't Ski Tour got banned, didn't they? Because one of their background videos had a nipple in it, and they got banned for 5 days or something. Yeah, you can have whatever music you like, but certainly not that. Right. It's been great, guys. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. It's been good to chat, and I think, you know, it's interaction. And, you know, we're not in the same room, but we're all sort of in the same room. And, you know, thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm going to raid, and we'll go and see Sam and wish him a happy St. David's Day, if I can type this in right.
Indeed.
How do you spell his name again?
Sam_Tweaks.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'll see if it can. There you go.
That raid coming up, is that working?
Yeah. We've got on I'm going to get a raid for 250 points. Woo!
Coming up on mine. Thanks everyone. Thanks Sarah Adam. Thanks Mr. Law, BMX Steve, Rolling Adam, TT Funk, Mark Lancaster, 45 Finch, Danny Bounce. Who else? We had quite a few people earlier on, didn't we? So as there's no music, this can probably stay on Twitch. So yeah, we can. If you want to watch it back, we can watch it back. And like I said, the next one of these, we've got Mark Lancaster and Rare Grills, and then we've got Danny Bounce in May. So, right. Sweet. I can't for some reason see the raid. Is the raid working?
It says join, so we are going to go.
Okay.
There you go.
Is it rolling down?
Let's have a look, mate.
Takes about 80 seconds, doesn't it? So, I don't know, for some reason I just can't see on that. Anyway, thank you again. It's been great.
Thanks very much.
We'll see you soon. Right. Is that raid?
See if it goes.
I don't know. It's really weird. I just can't see it on my screen for some reason.
It's a lot different without music, isn't it?
It is very different. Yeah. Let's see if we're still live.
I can sing. There we go.
I've heard you singing.
Yeah. That's a Blakey thing, mate.
Okay, yeah, it looks like we're hosting Sam now, so I think that's done.
We're in.
Right, it's been. I'm going to end the broadcast.
Okay, mate.